Hello, Riddle 5th graders. Welcome to video 3 of virtual art. I have made this Google Slides. It is located on the art page under Schoology, and you can always check it out. I've been adding to it. Talk about composition, horizontal lines. Horizontal lines are lines of rest. Talked about vertical lines. Vertical lines are lines of strength, like telephone poles. If they are not straight, you can tell that they're not strong. So in art, if we're talking about a drawing or painting, we can use these words, vertical and horizontal, and they have the same meanings when we're talking about abstract art or items in a background. But these are all decisions that artists choose, and they choose them for reasons. Curved lines are for beauty. Diagonal lines make the artist, help the artist let the viewer travel throughout the artwork. Abstract, non-objective, we talked about, is shapes, lines, colors. There's a Mark Rothko. This is Jackson Pollock. Wassily Kandinsky, who is our artist of the month. This is Piet Mondrian. He is it's a French artist. This is Fields of Color. So he's comparing the brightness of color and separating it with fields of white. Abstract objective art is when you can see an object and you're like, oh, those are houses. It kind of looks like Whoville, but with a really crazy wild background. Pablo Picasso is our artist today. Picasso is an artist that is known for a lot of different things. He's one of the most famous, influential artists of all time. He was born in 1881 and died in 1973. He was a Spanish artist and spent most of his life living in France. France was kind of the center of the art world throughout his lifetime. Pablo was known for his versatility, and throughout his life his art styles changed. Early on, his father was an art teacher, and he was very good at realism, so he was trying to make his art look real just like everybody else. And then throughout his career, he kind of, as his feelings, I guess, as his life changed, his art styles changed. So he had a good friend when he was young that passed away, and then he started adding blue to everything that he made. So it was called the blue period. And then once he started coming out of that blue period, because he found a girlfriend, he was a little bit happier in life, and it was called the rose period. So everything kind of had like a brighter sort of color. And then later on in life, he was influenced by African art. He was able to see some African art. He was really interested in the mask. So a lot of his art had a little African mask, sort of a look to it. And then he went into what's called Cubism, and it was getting very abstract, objective. So you could tell that it's still a person, but it's all jumbled up. So that's what those are some of the art periods that he worked through. And like I said, he was 91 years old, which is pretty old. Here's this would be an abstract objective. You can see it's of a woman crying, and she has a Kleenex out, gray areas, a Kleenex over her face. You can tell that she just feels sad. So it's very expressive. Here is another abstract objective. It looks crazy. The face is all jumbled up, but you can still tell that it's a face. So I would be very interested to talk to him about this one, to see what was he thinking here. This is an example of the blue period. This is a famous one, this man with a guitar. This painting here is actually located in the Chicago Art Institute. I've stood in front of this one. And this one here, this was an early self-portrait. So you can kind of tell, it kind of looks sort of real. It's not jumbled up like the abstract objective. So this was earlier on in his career. This is an example of the Rose period. During the Rose period, he did a series of paintings of circus people. The circus came to town, and they were very happy people, and people that were watching the circus were having a good time. So he was inspired by these circus people. So these are some of them. Here's a couple examples of later in life. These are some images of him taken with a photograph. So you see that classic striped shirt. Whenever I think of Pablo Picasso, I think of this this photograph here with the striped shirt here on the right. But you can see some of his paintings in the background. He also played with sculpture. He was very, just, a really true artist. He just lived art all of the time. This is a woman looking in the mirror. So you can tell on this side that it's a woman, and on this side you can tell the oval shape there. It kind of reflects, but it's very abstract. It's kind of difficult to really see what's going on there. So it makes it a little bit more interesting, and I think that's what Pablo was very interested in. Like I said before, Pablo Picasso's artwork changed throughout his life. So on the left, you can see this is a self-portrait of him when he was 15 years old. Very realistic, very well done, very good sense of color, highlights where the light is hitting, and then it's kind of shadows the side of his face. This is very excellent. And then at 25 years old, it's changing. The style is changing. He's inventing something new. So he's just kind of playing around and having fun with it. And then it gets 89 years old. It's very abstract. This almost reminds me of Guernica. It's a famous painting that he did. It's monochromatic now. That means like all grays, it's all one color. But you can see that throughout time he just very much jumped around, and his style and the way that he was working changed. Here is an example of another woman. Here she got her hand up on her face, but it's very abstract. And then I have some examples of some kids' work. The next thing that we're going to be getting into next time is going to be realism. I'll be talking about some photorealism. I do have some slides that you can look at, but next time we will be doing that. So this brings me to today's project, which is we're going to mimic a Pablo Picasso later in life face painting drawing. So you can use crayons, you can use colored pencils. So you can work small, you can work large. Working small is always a good idea because it can be a lot quicker, a lot easier, and it's easier to store and keep. So what I'm going to do, every time that I'm making my smalls, I'm going to keep them all together. And I could even make a book of all of these art cards that I've been making. Cool, huh? So a Pablo Picasso face, how would I do that? Well, I'm going to probably start with a shape of a face. Just make a U shape. Then I'm going to go ahead and go with the nose, because every example that I'm seeing here, it's like the face has a nose that kind of comes through. So I'm going to go ahead and make a silhouette, like a face looking sideways. I feel like it always has like a face looking sideways. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to add my eyes. Some of them have a mouth. I'm going to make the mouth, I guess. Mouth on one side, some ears. Like a beard. The hair, neck, shoulders. Very abstract. Some are a little bit more abstract than others, so perhaps I should be more abstract. Also, what you can do is I can add a hand. Sometimes the hands are coming out of the face and such. You can also consider coloring. I would really like to see color on it. But here's my finished example. It's me as a Pablo Picasso wearing a Pablo striped shirt. I've got a wicked background. My background is very similar to the woman look in the mirror with the shapes, except for I chose to use green. I chose a warm color. I mixed yellow and orange to get my oranges color, and then the other side of my face I wanted to be different, so I used cool colors for that. So everything that you're doing with the art, you're making choices. So when I do make the choices, I consider my colors, colors that are going to pop out, or opposite colors, warm colors, cool colors, analogous colors. Analogous colors are colors that are near each other on the color wheel, so they're going to tend to blend together and match. So everything that you're doing, shapes, lines, and colors, you should consider just the general art elements and kind of the rules and the knowledge that you can slowly collect. So this is this week's art project. You have all week. You can click on it, click on that circle, and you can pull up your camera, pull up that camera, and then you You can take a picture of it, hold it up. It's kind of weird because everything's backwards when you're working with these. And the camera will only work if you're in a laptop mode. It's not going to work if it's in the flat mode or flip mode. And then you can go to Schoology and you go to the art discussion. You click on the art discussion like you're going to type, and then you click directly above that word post. There's a little bitty squares. You'll click that, and then the last picture, the most recent picture that you've taken, will be right on top. You'll click that and you'll click post, and it will be in the art discussion, so that way I can see it. So this is the artist of the day, Pablo Picasso. We're going to make an abstract face inspired by him. So, all right, good luck, and I look forward to seeing your work. Bye.